purpose of EDtpa Special Education is to measure the readiness to teach learners with identified disabilities. The assessment is designed with a focus on learning and principles from research and theory. It is based on findings that successful teachers develop and apply knowledge of varied learner needs, consider research and theory about how to support learners with varied needs, develop learner knowledge and skills using individualized education program plan, IEP goals, California academic content standards, and ongoing assessment to select instruction objectives, provide instruction that meet the individual needs with adaptations and accommodations, attend to generalization and maintenance of newly learned knowledge and skills, reflect on and analyze of the effect of instruction and other planned supports, and use this information to inform future instruction, and selection of instructional content. As a performance-based assessment, EDtpa is designed to engage candidates in demonstrating their understanding of teaching and learning in authentic ways. Overview of the assessment. The EDtpa Special Education for California assessment is composed of 3 tasks: planning the instruction and assessment, instructing and engaging the focus learner, assessing learning. You will teach content consistent with what you normally teach, planning and instructing as you normally would teach. However, for this assessment, you will develop an in-depth case study of one learner, your focus learner, from your class, group, or caseload. Candidates must select a focus learner with an identified disability who is an English learner and who is from an underrepresented group or a group that needs to be served differently. If there is no English learner in the placement, candidate must choose focus learner who is challenged by English, academic English if the focus learner is working on academic content, including earlier literacy or earlier numeracy. You will identify one learning goal for the focus learner and plan and provide supports that relate to the learning goal. Candidates must select a learning goal related to a California subject-specific academic content standard or the California Preschool Learning Foundation, Volume 1 through 3. Planned supports can include the learning environment, instructional strategies, learning tasks, materials, accommodations, modifications, assistive technology, prompts, and/or scaffolding that are delivered, selected, or designed to facilitate learning. Consider the following to identify a learning goal. If the focus learner is working on academic content, including academics in community setting or early literacy, numeracy, select a learning goal related to an IEP goal in one of the following academic content areas: literacy, mathematics, social studies, or science. If there is no IEP goal related to the content, if the focus learner only has behavioral goals, then select a learning goal related to academic content in literacy, mathematics, social studies, or science, on which the focus learner is working. If the focus learner is not working on any academic content, e.g., an infant, a toddler, or a learning with a severe and profound disability, select a learning goal related to an IEP. Note: if the focus learner is working on academic content, you will select an academic learning goal whether or not there is a related IEP goal. Once you have identified focus learner and learning goal, you will plan 3 to 5 consecutive lessons referring to the learning segment. Each lesson will have a lesson objective and planned supports designed to meet the needs of the focus learner with respect to the learning goal. The learning segment may take place within a large unit of instruction and, as a result, may be delivered from a broader curriculum content you are teaching in your placement. The learning segment must be designed to support the focused learner, to access content related to the learning goal and demonstrate their learning, align with at least one goal in their IEP and, as applicable, relevant academic or non-academic standards, reflect IEP identified adaptations of learning environment, content, and instructional strategies. This learning segment should be planned and taught in the setting that is consistent with usual practice in your placement. For most focused learners, this will be a small group or whole class setting. After planning the learning segment, you will then teach it, making a video recording that centers on your interactions with the focused learner during instruction within the usual setting. You will also keep a daily assessment record to monitor the focused learner's progress towards the learning goal, as demonstrated by their performance in relationship to the lesson objectives. Upon completion of the 3 tasks, you will submit artifacts from the tasks, e.g. lesson plans, clips from your recording videos, your video recordings, assessment materials, instructional materials, learning work samples, as well as commentaries that you have written to explain and reflect on the planning, instruction, and assessment components of the tasks. The artifacts and commentaries to each task will then be evaluated using rubrics specifically developed to each task. The EDtpa task and the cycle of effective teaching, the 3 EDtpa tasks, represent a cycle of effective teaching. Teaching focused on meeting specific needs to support learning. Planning task 1 documents your intended teaching. Instruction task 2 documents your enacted teaching. And assessment task 3 documents that impact your teaching on the learning of the focused learner. Then there is a chart. The 3 tasks and the evidence you provide for each are framed by your understanding of your focused learner and learning. As you develop, document, and teach your lessons, you will reflect upon the clinical relationships and among planning, instruction, and assessment, keeping your focused learner's needs at the center of your teaching. Evidence of the teaching practice, artifacts and commentaries. An essential part of the EDtpa is the evidence you will submit of how you planned, taught, and assessed your lessons to deepen learning of content reflected in the learning goal. This evidence takes both artifacts and commentaries. Artifacts represent authentic work completed to you and your focused learner. These include lesson plans, copies of the instruction, assessment materials or data, collection procedures, video clips of your teaching, and a work sample from the focused learner. Commentaries are your opportunities to describe your artifacts, explain the rationale behind your choices, and analyze what you have learned about your teaching practice and its impact on your focused learner. Note that although your ability will not be scored directly, commentaries must be written and well focused. When preparing your artifacts and commentaries, refer to the rubric frequently to guide your thinking, planning, and writing. Refer to Special Education for California Evidence Chart for information and how your evidence should be formatted for electronic submission. Evaluation criteria. The rubric used to score your performance are included in the handbook. Following the section describing the direction for each task, the descriptors in the 5-level rubrics address a wide range of performance, beginning with the knowledge and skills of novice, not ready to teach, level 1, and extending to the advanced practices of a highly accomplished beginner, level 5. Structure of the handbook. The following pages provide specific instructions on how to complete each of the 3 tasks of the EDtpa Special Education for California assessment. Within each task, instructions are organized into 4 sections. 1. What do I need to think about? This section provides focus questions for you to think about when completing the task. 2. What do I need to do? This section provides specific and detailed directions for completing the tasks. 3. What do I need to write? This section tells you what you need to write and also provides specific and detailed directions for writing the commentary for the task. 4. What will the evidence of my teaching practice be assessed? How will the evidence of my teaching practice be assessed? This section includes the rubric that will be used to assess the evidence you provide for the task. Additional requirements and resources are provided in this handbook. Professional responsibilities, guidelines for development of your evidence, special education for California context for learning information, prompts used to collect information and your instructional context, special education for California evidence chart, specifications for electronic submission of evidence, artifacts and commentaries, include templates, supported file types, number of files, response length, and other important evidence specifications. Glossary. Definitions of terms can be accessed by rolling your cursor over glossary terms marked in the dotted underline throughout the handbook, or by referring to Special Education for California glossary. You should review the Making Good Choices in Special Education for California document prior to beginning the planning of the learning segment. If you are in the preparation program, it will be additional resources that provide guidance as you develop your evidence. Review all instruction carefully before beginning to teach the learning segment to ensure that you are well prepared for all tasks. Before you record your videos, pay particular attention to specific content focus for each video clip submission. Those foci are described in the What Do I Do Best sections in Instruction Task 2 and Assessment Task 3. Refer to the Professional Responsibility section of this handbook for important information and permissions, confidentiality, and other requirements. If your program requires you to submit artifacts and commentaries for official scoring, review the www.edtpa.com for complete and current information before beginning your work and to download templates for submitting materials. The website contains information about the registration process, submission deadlines, submission requirements, withdrawal refund policies, and scoring report. It also provides contact information should you have questions about your registration and participation in EDtpa. Whether submitting directly to www.edtpa.com or via your program's electronic portfolio management system, follow the submission guidelines as documented in the evidence chart and review EDtpa submission requirements to ensure that your materials conform to the required evidence specifications and required for scoring. Task 1. Planning Task 1. Planning for instructional and assessment. What to do. What to submit evaluation rubrics. What to do. Select one learner as a focus for this assessment. Obtain required permission slips. Provide relevant context information. Select a learning goal for the focus learner. Obtain or collect baseline data. Note, candidates should include relevant information obtained from parents, teachers, and other community personnel. Given the learning goal, come up with 3 to 5 lesson learning segments. Design learning segments 3 to 5 that provides access to curriculum, instruction, and supports. Choose one communication set. that the learner will need to use to participate for the learning task, demonstrate learning related to learning goal. For a focused learner with a learning goal in the academic curriculum, this should be a language used with the appropriate discipline: literacy, mathematics, social studies, science. If appropriate for the learner, explain you will support the learner's use of the communication. What you submit: context for learning, Part A; lesson plans for learning segment, Part B; instructional materials, Part C; assessment and or data collection procedures, Part D; planning commentary, Part E. Evaluation rubric. Planning rubrics. Rubric 1, planning for alignment and developing skills and knowledge. Rubric 2, planning challenge and support for the focused learner. Rubric 3, justification of instruction and support. Rubric 4, supporting the focused learner's use of expressive receptive communication. Rubric 5, planning assessment to monitor and support learning. Continuation of what to do. Planning and instruction and assessment. Write and submit lesson plans for each lesson in your learning segment, including daily collection of assessment data to monitor the focused learner towards lesson objectives associated with the learning goal. Select and submit key instructional and support materials needed to understand what you and the focused learner are doing. Submit copies of all written assessments and or data sheets, including any data collection procedures for any oral or performance assessments for the learning segment. Respond to commentary prompts prior to teaching learning segment. Task 2, what to do, what to submit, evaluation rubrics. What to do: obtain all required permission for recording from other adults, video record your instruction, select 1 to 2 clips, no more than 20 minutes total, but not less than 3 minutes. Analyze your teaching and the learning of the focused learner in the video clips. Part A, or what to submit: Part A, video clips; Part B, instructional commentary. Evaluation rubric. Rubric 6, learning environment. Rubric 7, engaging the focused learner. Rubric 8, deepening learning. Rubric 9, supporting teaching and learning. Rubric 10, analyzing teaching evidence. Effectiveness. Task 3, assessing learning. What to do, what to submit, rubric evaluation rubrics. Use the baseline what to do. Use the baseline data, daily assessment records, and work samples from the learning segment to analyze the focused learner's progress on lesson objectives related to the learning goal. Submit 1 copy of the baseline data and completed daily assessments record for each lesson. Submit 1 work sample analyzed to help illustrate the conclusions you reach in your analysis. The work sample may take the form of a test, an assignment, or video clip of performance. Submit feedback you gave to the focused learner for the assessment from which the work sample comes. The feedback can be provided as a written work sample, in a video work sample as an audio clip, or an additional video clip. Analyze evidence that the focused learner's use of the learning goal related communication skill from the video clips. Analyze the data of the focused learner's progress towards the learning goal and plan the next steps by responding to the commentary prompts. What to submit: Part A, work sample. Part B, completed daily assessment records and baseline data. Part C, evidence of feedback. Part D, assessment commentary. Evaluation rubrics. Rubric 11, analyze the focused learner's performance. Rubric 12, providing feedback to guide further learning. Rubric 13, learning, understanding, and use of feedback. Rubric 14, explaining the focused learner's use of communication. Rubric 15, using assessment to inform instruction.